Part 4 of 6, The City That Burned. San Francisco, 1906. Well, now, the last time we left San Francisco, in about as bad of shape as a city can be and still call itself standing. The earth had shaken, buildings had fallen. People were pouring into parks and open fields, and somehow, among all that chaos, was a dairy cow who accidentally became a local celebrity. But here's the thing, folks. The earthquake, that wasn't the worst part, not even close. Most people hear San Francisco earthquake, and they assume the earthquake is what destroyed the city. The truth is, the ground knocked it down, but the fire, it tried to erase it. Tonight, we're going to continue on, and we're talking about those fires. I'm warning you now, some parts of the story are heartbreaking. Some parts are inspiring. And some of those parts are just unbelievably foolish that if they weren't documented by eyewitnesses, nobody would ever believe them. So pull up that chair and bring it a little on closer, because tonight we're walking right back into the smoke. The first fires. Well, the earthquake struck at 5:12 in the morning, and by 5:13, the city, it had already began to light up and was burning. Gas mains had ruptured, coal stoves had been overturned, kitchen fires escaped, electric lines were sparking, factories burst into wild amounts of flames. Everywhere people were looking, there was smoke. Now, ordinarily, San Francisco had one of the finest fire departments in the country, but there was one very small problem. The water pipes under the city had, well, they'd shattered. Now, folks, I don't know much, but I do know if your town is on fire and your water's gone, that's generally considered less than ideal. That's Southern for we're in some serious trouble. This is any fireman's worst nightmare. The firefighters responded immediately. The men weren't cowards, not by any stretch. They raced towards fires while everyone else was running away. Horses pulled engines through the streets filled with rubble. Men climbed over fallen bricks. Others dragged horses through debris, only to discover, well, there was nothing. No water, no hydrants anywhere. What hydrants there were, well, they were either wheezing, they were sputtering, or those same hydrants, they just mocked them. Some firefighters connected hoses only to watch a pathetic trickle emerge. Imagine standing there, buildings burning, people were screaming, and your equipment suddenly became decorations. One firefighter reportedly described it as a feeling of complete helplessness. And I don't blame him. That's like trying to fight a bear with encouraging words. That's when those fires began winning. Within hours, entire blocks were burning. The wind picked up, and, well, that's never what you want to hear. Fire loves wind. The flames jumped streets, leaped rooftops, climbed walls, and before long, it became obvious. This wasn't one fire. This was dozens of fires, then hundreds. Eventually, giant walls of flames merged together. People described a roaring sound unlike anything they'd ever heard. One survivor said it sounded like 1,000 locomotives. Another said it sounded like the end of the world itself. Now, I don't know what the end of the world sounds like, but if 1,000 trains and a tornado had a baby, I'd imagine that'd be pretty darn close. Well, then Nob Hills fell. The rich neighborhoods weren't spared. That's something disasters like to remind us. The fire doesn't care how much money you've got. Nob Hill was home to some of the wealthiest people in America. Massive mansions, luxury hotels, beautiful homes built from fortunes made during the gold rush. Many believed those structures would survive anything. History, however, had completely different plans. One by one, they burned. Some families watched from the distance, others stayed until the very last moment. Imagine standing there, watching your home just disappear, watching generations of memories vanish into smoke, knowing all you can do is just watch. The army had a plan. They didn't want anyone to worry. Now, this next part, bless their hearts. The army arrived, hoping to help save the city. And to be fair, their hearts were absolutely in the right place. Unfortunately, their plan occasionally wasn't. The idea was simple. Blow up buildings, create fire breaks, stop flames from spreading. Sounds reasonable, right? Well, in theory. The problem? Some of the people handling explosives weren't demolition experts. And some explosions accidentally started entirely new fires. Now think for a second. The city's already burning, and somebody's solution is, hey, let's add explosions. That feels like it might be putting hot sauce on a sunburn. People began running for their lives. By afternoon, streets were filled with refugees, thousands, tens of thousands, every direction. People pushing carts, people pushing wagons, people carrying suitcases. Some carried bird cages, some carried family Bibles, others just carried photographs. One man reportedly pushed a piano down the street. Now, could you imagine that? A piano. Now, friend, I love music, but if I'm fleeing from a firestorm, that piano's going to have to trust the Lord and fend for itself, because I'm letting it go. There are many survivor stories. One woman grabbed her wedding dress. Another carried fine china. One family dragged a bathtub. Could you imagine that? A bathtub? And before you're too hard on them, remember something. People weren't thinking clearly. Disaster does strange things to human brains. You don't pack logically, you pack emotionally, and you grab memories, treasures, pieces of your home, things that will make you feel safe, which explains the bathtub. Absolutely none at all, but still, they had to have their bathtub. A city of camps. As the fires grew worse, refugees flooded those open spaces. Golden Gate Park, the Presidio, beaches, hillsides, empty fields, everywhere tents appeared. People gathered blankets, built shelters, shared food. Strangers, well, they became neighbors. One of the most remarkable things survivors remembered wasn't the destruction. It was the kindness, the stranger who shared food, soldiers helping an elderly woman, children playing games despite everything around them. Human beings can be amazing sometimes, and thank goodness, because they can also decide blowing up a city is a fire prevention strategy. So I guess that balances out. Then came the night sky. The fires burned throughout the nightfall. Can you imagine the sight? The skies glowing red, ash falling like snow, smoke stretching across the horizon. People miles away could see the flames. The heat was so intense. Many survivors later described feeling that heat from miles away. One observer compared parts of the city to a volcano. Others compared it to a giant furnace. It must have felt unreal, like a nightmare that refused to end. One observation was made by Jack London. Author Jack London witnessed the aftermath firsthand. His writings would become some of the most famous accounts of the disaster. He described entire neighborhoods simply gone. Just gone. Not damaged, not broken, gone. London wrote of people wandering shell-shocked through ruined streets, families searching for loved ones, citizens trying to make sense of what had happened. That city, they knew it no longer because it didn't exist, and yet the people were made. Those fires, they burned for 3 days. Think about that. 3 long days. hour after hour, minute after minute, second after second, and all those things led into day after day after day. Neighborhood after neighborhood, nothing stopped them. Every time people believed it might finally end, another section ignited. Another block vanished. Another family lost completely everything. San Francisco wasn't just being tested. It was completely being transformed. The good thing is, the spirit of the people, well, this is where the story turns, because eventually something remarkable occurred. People stopped asking, "What have we lost?" They started asking, "What do we do next?" Builders gathered tools. Merchants planned businesses. Neighbors, well, they organized food. Churches helped families. Volunteers assisted refugees. The city was wounded, but it wasn't defeated. There's a difference. And that's what I admire most. Sometimes courage isn't charging into danger. Sometimes courage is the waking up after everything's gone and deciding to keep going anyway. You know, reading these accounts always humbles me. I get frustrated when my internet slows down. I'll complain when the coffee maker quits. I've been known to grumble when the air conditioner acts up. And then I read about people who lost everything, from homes, businesses, entire neighborhoods, family. But they still found the strength to help others. It makes you think, maybe we're stronger than we realize. Maybe we just don't find out how strong we are until life puts us to that test. Now, on the next episode, we're stepping deeper into the human side of this disaster. We're going inside the refugee camps. We'll hear more from the first-hand survivors. We'll meet families trying to start over and discover how a city built from ashes found the courage to rebuild itself. And discover how a city built from ashes found the courage to rebuild itself. Until then, take care of each other. Hold your loved ones close. And remember, the strongest foundations aren't always made of bricks and stone. Sometimes they're made of truth, community, and sheer stubbornness. This has been Mile Markers, Memories and Milestones. I'm Shell. Coming up is part 5, Ashes, Hope, and the people who stayed. Come back and listen. Find out the rest of the story. You don't want to miss it.